how dire of need is cornerback? To me, this is an interesting position because they have all of their starters set and they're all vets and they're all good when healthy. But the depth at the cornerback in particular is non-existent. So how dire of a need is corner?
Yeah, and I think the Niners are kind of tipping their hand at what they're going to do in the draft by what they're doing in free agency, and I think we're going to be talking about that later on. But I think this draft especially doesn't have a ton of top name cornerbacks, but it has a lot of depth. And I think this is going to be one of the drafts where the 49ers select maybe 2 or 3 corners with all of those picks. So I expect them to pick one within the first 3 rounds, and then another one between rounds 4 and 6, and then maybe another one throw in one of their late round picks, because they do need depth there, obviously. And I just think they look at this draft as they could get some quality cornerbacks to build that cornerback room through the draft. And that's why I think you haven't seen them be real aggressive with getting any free agent cornerbacks.
Yeah, I like the idea of drafting multiple ones and developing them. But I also like what you said about them drafting a corner on day 2. I think they have to do that. Mm-hmm. And if I were them, I would take a corner in round 2, which is something they haven't done since Shante Spencer in 2004. I don't know why they've gone that long, but I think they really need to. I know they don't need a starter at corner right now, but you got to be realistic about Jason Verrett. He's a hell of a player, but look at his track record. I mean, to just pencil him in for 16 games is wishful thinking. You have to have some type of a really good backup plan, not some guy who's a 7th round pick, like a guy who's ready to go in case Jason Verrett pulled his hamstring in camp last year, missed the first couple of games. You don't know what you're going to get from him. So I think they need a starting caliber corner in round 2, just in case Jason Verrett gets hurt. Because if he gets hurt, that secondary stinks.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. I mean, I could, if there was a prop bet that said the 49ers were going to draft a quarterback round 1, cornerback round 2, running back round 3, I would take that bet because I think that's exactly how it's going to go.
I bet you could find that bet, and I bet you'd get amazing odds. Amazing odds. You should do that. All right. Sean says, do you think they are saying they are undecided to get Atlanta to move up 1 and gain a pick? Good Grant. We need a bell cow after a quarterback, center, cornerback, running back, DN, maybe a young quarterback will do what Kyle wants. Do we think that they're saying they're undecided to get Atlanta to move up 1 and gain a pick? That's what the Niners have done twice before. They've done this.
Right.
Solomon Thomas.
I think it would be interesting if they're really up in the air with 2 quarterbacks. Like if Trey Lance and Justin Fields they have right there and they don't want to make the decision, they want Atlanta to make that decision for them and then get a pick out of it. I could see that happening, but I really think with the aggressiveness that the 49ers, like especially Shanahan and Lynch, put in to get up to number 3, I don't think they're really playing games. I think they know what they want. I think it's just about what scenarios play out, right? So is Zach Wilson going to be there? Is Justin Fields going to be there? Is Lance going to be there? I think they're really just dependent on what the Jets do, and then they have who they're going to pick based off of what the Jets do.
But theoretically, let's say that Kyle Shanahan really does want Mac Jones. That's who he wants. Dead set. And he feels 90% confident that the Falcons want Justin Fields. So what the Niners can do is pretend they want Justin Fields, get the Falcons to panic and move up 1 and trade down to 4 and get the guy you wanted anyway in Mac Jones. I think that's where Sean is coming from here. And I think it's a possibility considering they did it last year with Kinlaw and they did it 4 years ago with Solomon Thomas.
I just think that it's a different situation because they're in need of a quarterback as well, whereas all the other positions were like DNs that weren't being picked. So I think it's too much to risk the guy that you want because it's not Mac Jones. Like that's not the guy that he wants because there's too much. The media knows too. If that's the worst kept secret, if it is Mac Jones, right? You know what I mean? So like, I don't think that's the 49ers way of doing it. It's going to be between Wilson, Fields, Lance. I think Atlanta would be interested in the same 3 quarterbacks. So I think it'd be too risky to risk it.